Welcome to another edition of the Business Plain and Simple podcast presented by the Regroup Advisors. I'm your host, Tiffany Stone, and it's our goal with this and all of our podcasts to guide prospective and current business owners on their journey to prosperity. We'll show you what to do and what not to do in this ever-changing environment. And I'm very excited to be joined today by Saamer Mansoor from BeAware, the Deaf Assistant, and of course, the one and only Mike Koshubsky from the Regroup Advisors. Welcome to you both. It's so good to be here. I am so excited to hear about this product right now. And Saamer, I know that you have so many great things to talk about, but can you tell us a little bit about your product and what this app can do?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in, and thank you for the opportunity, Tiffany. So BeAware is a company that builds tools for the deaf and hard of hearing and for institutions that serve them. And so the tool that we're talking about today is called conference captioning. It is an AI-powered tool that essentially can convert any live in-person event to be accessible for the deaf within seconds. And it also provides accessibility for people who may not be English speaking and for people who use an external Braille keyboard like the deafblind.
That is amazing. And somebody whose mother is from Thailand, so I'm half Thai. My mother was born in Thailand, came over here. She always tells me, I'm so sorry, my English isn't that great. I'm like, Mom, you know like 5 different languages, so trust me, I get this. And she's like, but some words don't translate over. And even when I'm speaking to my own mother, she tells me things. I'm like, Mom, I don't know what you're saying, and vice versa. Or when I'm speaking to somebody else, I use the verbiage or the words that my mom has used, because some things don't translate, and they're like, what are you talking about? So this is so cool to be able to see this. Now with the app, really, how does that whole thing kind of work?
Yeah, a great question. So essentially the speaker, or you can think of the professor or the pastor in the church, downloads the app and starts a stream. They get a QR code that they share with their attendees, their students, and the student just scans the QR code. They get to a page that gets the live captions, and with the touch of one button, you can get the translation into a different language as well.
That's super, super cool. And I know that there's some other companies that are trying this, but haven't really perfected it. And I think this is something that you are on the forefront, especially now that there's so many people that are traveling. We have podcasts and we watch videos. For myself, even, I always have closed captions on when I watch Netflix, no matter what. Even if I can understand it, it just helps me really digest all the information, especially like you said, when you're at a lecture and say that you're studying abroad and you're trying to understand everything, and you do have that little language barrier that kind of separates it. But now this is going to give everybody the confidence to be able to travel different countries, to be able to go to the lectures, especially the ones that you said need some assistance in hearing or hard of hearing, or were born deaf or become deaf. And I think this is such a great thing. And I know that you're trying to pitch this to Shark Tank. You did make it to the next round. Now you're about to make your video. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, certainly. So our tool was actually was won an accessibility competition, and so we got a booth at the CES in Las Vegas in January. And so on our last day there, there was Shark Tank that was actually casting. They put out a casting call, and we were supposed to fly out early, and I would have, not been able to make it. But I delayed my flight, and I waited in line for 5 hours because they were running late. And I did my pitch, and apparently 1 in 20 people get in. They told us that by January 31st, if you haven't heard back from us, that means you haven't got in. And then last week, I got a phone call in the evening, and they said, oh, we were just running late, and you're actually in the second round. And so you have 1 week to get this video out. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create that video and submit it to them.
There's nothing like feeling like you didn't make it and then getting that call and knowing, hey, this did it. And I think at the end of the day, regardless of what really happens, just know that you are definitely helping people out. You are definitely helping everybody, especially even the older generation. You know, when you do go hard of hearing, I'm somebody who works in motorsports. I am around high horsepower vehicles all day long. I know when I hit 60 or 70, I'm probably not going to be able to hear. So thankfully, this technology and what you're creating is already there. And now I just want to ask Mike, this is such a good feel good story. You know, it's helping people, it's showcasing that, hey, the world is available to everybody regardless of what's going on. So how is Regroup Advisors helping out, and how does this make you feel?
Well, this is one of those great companies that came through the Velocity program in Sterling Heights, Macomb County, where they took them in, they started working with them, and then realized that there's a potential for this to continue to grow larger. And as you know, we're the strategic partner with them to handle the accelerator side. So we've begun working on a strategy to scale up and get this out into multiple channels. We're just touching the surface today on where this is at. I will tell you, he's downplayed the significance of him being at Consumer Electronics in January. We were out there, we walked by the booth, there was a lot of traffic, there was a lot of interest, a lot of people looking at it. He also was able to get up on stage of one of a few finalists to speak to a bunch of investors and industry leaders there. So he was being very humble on the importance and the significance of them winning that ability to get that booth. What we looked at, and as we've been talking to people, is really how the application will help people communicate better in a number of different settings. And you think of it's interesting because you don't really realize that people have a hearing impairment at a conference, because guess what? They're not there. And they're afraid to go. And then they end up having to get the information from another means. So this not only increases participation and allows people to have accessibility to gain knowledge, but it also puts them into a setting where they're comfortable, right? They're not trying to turn up hearing aids. They're not trying to find a translator. They get to participate equally. And that's what the exciting part is. And it's not age specific, so it can help everybody. And you look at that and you see that focus, and then other applications that are in the pipeline that this applies to, and it's really exciting. And Tiffany, you know, we kind of talked about this in previous podcasts, is things that impact society in a positive manner are exciting to us, because we see that that's where, you know, from an entrepreneur standpoint, the money comes if you do the right thing. And this is one of those things where he's doing the right thing. His company's moving forward. He's taken the steps. And we've been fortunate enough to meet him through a program that helps other businesses as well get to not only this stage, but then hopefully we're re-interviewing him. Well, if he talks to us after winning Shark Tank, you know, after that, we're a forgotten memory at that, you know, right? But in reality, all joking aside, his success in moving forward is what we look forward to, and how everybody experiences that. And I will tell you, he works a lot of hours. He is always busy. We tease him about trying to get back on the schedule, and you know, I feel like I'm booking with, you know, some, you know, Senate, you know, hearing, you know, conference, because he'll tell us like 3 weeks from now. But that's good. He's dedicated. His team is wonderful. We got a chance in Vegas to talk with them for a little bit, and they're all equally as energetic. So yeah, we're just helping them structure. We're helping them get scale up. We're helping them figure out how to position these various solutions inside of his model. And yeah, we just want to be able to still shake his hand, you know, after all this success, and he changes the world for people with hearing impairments, which I think he's going to do.
And Mike, going a little bit further off of that, I think that's wonderful. And especially for the people who are born with a hearing impairment and they have to go to school and no longer have to be in a different classroom with a different set of teachers, with feeling like that they're excluded from what's going on. They can now be in the same room or the same school as the rest of their friends, and they feel like that they know exactly what's going on. And I truly think that the younger generation that is able to use this, like I said, the ones that are born with the hearing impairment, they're going to have so much more confidence going into the world, because they're like, hey, I'm still a part of this. I can see this. I can, be a part of the conversations, be a part of the lectures, be a part of all of that. But that little bit of confidence that they get, I think is super cool. And Saamer, going back to you, is there a reason that you developed this? Is there a backstory behind that? There has to be something, because it's not like all of a sudden you're like, this is what I want to do. There had to be a story that comes along with it.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I've been doing mobile app development and design for a very long time, and I was consulting as a developer for the Charter Spectrum application. It's the Comcast competitor, and there was they had got sued for not taking accessibility into account, and now they were taking it seriously. And I was one of the seniors, so they were like, "Hey, would you be interested?" I was like, "Yeah, of course. This is amazing." And I got to meet with and work with people who are deaf, hard of hearing, blind, and I did a lot of work, and that really changed my perspective and the way that I was thinking. Initially, I was just only thinking about the 80% of people, and not really think about the minority. And so, and then I learned, I gained all of this knowledge, and then in 2021 I sat down with some friends. We were looking to make an impact in a minority, and obviously we weren't doctors, so we couldn't save lives, but we all had something in common with the deaf or hard of hearing community. For example, my mom was hard of hearing at that time, and then my uncle and my aunt are also hard of hearing. And so we did a lot of research. We spent over 6 or 7 months, talked to a lot of people who were deaf and hard of hearing, over 100 people, and not like surveys, like actual conversations. And we, based on all that research, we built the Deaf Assistant in 2022 around April. And we were listening for feedback, improving what people were telling us to improve, and eventually we got featured by Apple. We were #1 on Y Combinator's Hacker News. We started getting all these accolades, we started winning all these competitions, and we knew that there was a really, really great potential over here. And then, we started getting messages from people, hey, we're trying to use it for this purpose, but it's not really working. And so we're like, yeah, it's not meant for that specific purpose. This is meant for one-on-one communication. And that's how we ended up building conference captioning, where essentially in a classroom, a professor can set it up as a stream within seconds. He gets that stream URL or QR code, and students are able to capture instantly. Graduation ceremony. So we were actually able to use it in real settings where, it was totally not intrusive. So the teacher doesn't have to do anything different than they were doing before. And it's still able to work for hours without even touching it.
That's really cool. And I don't mean to get all, emotional or sappy or anything like that, but I think one of the coolest things about this app and about this product that I think will be super neat in the future is when somebody tells you, I love you, and you'll be able to hear it and or read it. So don't make me cry. I'm going to get all teary here. Mike, I see you over there. You're getting teary too.
But, yeah, I'm right there with you.
I think that's really what it is. Everybody loves to hear that, or even hear their own name or anything. You watch a ton of videos where the babies are getting, getting not tested, they're getting fitted for their hearing aids and everything, and then they finally hear their mom's voice for the first time. So I think that's really cool. So please don't, Mike, this might go on your blooper reel now where you get the tears from me. But before we head out and everything, this product is awesome. I think it's great. I think it's anytime that you could help a minority in a way that you didn't necessarily think, or everybody thinks as race or culture is minority, but people don't realize that there's other little avenues of minority and feeling the inclusive that you want to. So Mike, before we go, is there anything else about this company and of course this wonderful gentleman who is trying to change the life of everybody?
Yeah, no, and Tiffany, all joking aside, you hit the point right on. There's a lot of communication that people miss. Casual conversations, interactions with loved ones, interactions while they're out doing their daily shopping, etc. And for this to have that application and to bridge that gap, you're right. It pulls people together, but it also opens up new knowledge channels. And like I said, this is one of those companies that I know we say this all the time, that we love everybody we work with, and we truly do. This is one of those ones, though, that we absolutely want to see successful, because it will change people's lives, and changing people's lives is part of our mission as well. So yeah, we commend them and wish them all the success. And we should get our signed headshots from him before he gets off a Shark Tank, because I don't want to have to pay for it after there. So so please feel free to send us your signed swag now. So
and honestly, now significant others can be like, I didn't hear you. Yes, you did. You definitely heard me give you that honey to-do list. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping by today. And thank you so much for all the great information. This is truly a one-of-a-kind product, and I cannot wait to see what happens for the future for you on Shark Tank. I hope you guys get that. That would be amazing. And that's going to do it for another edition of the Business Plain and Simple podcast presented by the Regroup Advisors. Thank you so much for listening, and make sure you follow our podcast wherever you get them so you don't miss a future episode. You're going to be notified as soon as they are released. And if you want to catch up on past ones, which I know you do, you can see those in our podcast feed as well. And lastly, if you are interested in business advising services offered by the Regroup Advisors, you can contact them at 888-248-7077.